Hello, I'm Nico here from Tulum DJ Academy again, and I had the pleasure to introduce Saeed Younan with us. Thank you so much
Thanks
for,
for
for
having me.
coming. And we're going to do this new format of little interviews. Thank you again for the time, for the energy. We got some time talking off the records, and this guy got an amazing energy and a lot of things to share. So we are super happy to receive you. And I would love to hear, first, what were your first approach to music, in your life, how music came to you.
I don't know if you know, but so I was born in Baghdad, Iraq. So I was from the Middle East. I was always into music as a little kid. We didn't really have much because we were pretty much, a country in a war between Iraq and Iran. And then the music was the only thing that we had, just tuning into the radio and listening to. But when I came to the United States, I discovered DJing through hip hop. So, I was in high school in the 80s. That's when hip hop was becoming big in the US.
Oh,
You had Run DMC, like Houdini and all that. And obviously, they all had the DJs in the background. So I started out with turntables,
wow.
just scratching, playing hip hop. And that was like my kind of pretty much dive into turntablism, DJing, buying vinyl records, and started doing high school dances. My high school prom, I
Wow.
DJ'd my prom, and that's how I got into it. And that's how the love for DJing became about.
Wow, that's crazy,
Yeah.
And tell me, how do you feel when you're performing, when you're in front of a crowd and you're expressing yourself, through music? That it's a different way, to express yourself, different, going beyond the words. And tell me, how do you feel with this also engagement with the crowd when you're playing?
Yeah, the engagement is beautiful because you get a little bit of both worlds. So, as we were talking about earlier, you have the small clubs and you have the big venues, the big festivals, and it's two different atmospheres. So you can't really compare. It's like apples or oranges. When you're in a small club, the people are right in front of you. So, for example, is your booth here, and you've got the crowd right there. The energy is in your face. Everybody's like, oh, like they're watching everything you're doing. You've got a lot of kids who are just like paying attention to what you're doing on the mixer compared to what you're doing on the CDJ or turntables, whatever you're using. So you have that relationship, eye to eye, body to body. In a festival, the crowd is a little further from you. You're on a stage, you've got your turntable setups and everything. Nobody can really interact with you except they can see you on the monitors and see what you're doing, but you feel the energy in a different way because once you drop a beat, you turn on you bring the lows on and you bring it in, you just hear the people roar, wow, and literally like you'll feel it like your body, like the roar of
Wow.
the people. So that's the festival atmosphere. And if anybody gets to play a festival and they'll realize that, you get goosebumps, like it just feels amazing. So you have that compared to a small club. It's like two different energy, two different animals, but it's amazing. Go,
Wow. Now I imagine, like, this is super motivating for students to have the chance, and also tell me, how do you feel to have the opportunity, to live from music, to share your music, and travel all over the world. um, how do you feel, having this amazing opportunity,
I mean, I started DJing, like I said, in 1988. I didn't become a full-time DJ producer. Well, I was DJing, making music, but I was able to quit my full-time job in 1998, working
Wow.
for a company called, I don't think they even exist anymore, called America Online, which was the Google of back
Oh,
then. Yeah,
wow.
so it was the first internet company. So I started running I started a record label. I started producing, but I still had a full-time job. Once I started touring and doing a lot of gigs, I had the choice. I either can stay in 9 to 5 job or I have to quit and follow my music full time.
Wow.
Even though I knew I may make the same money, but in my heart I felt like, okay, music is there's something happening here. Labels are signing me. I'm traveling. People are starting to get to know who I am. And back then I had a partner as well, so we were doing a duo thing. And that's when I knew, I was like, okay, this music thing could probably work. So I had to quit my full-time job, tell my
Wow.
parents, and they were not happy because I'm leaving a secure job with health insurance and everything to something that's uncertain. And in 1998, I quit my full-time job, and I've been since then 100% in music. Have a record label, producing, remixing, all that stuff.
Wow, so inspiring, you know,
Yeah.
so inspiring to
So
people.
it can be done. It can be done.
Yeah, it's all about, you know, in the middle, of course, trust a lot in yourself, you know, and believe in music, you know, when music,
100%.
I always believe also that if you give to music, music always give you back, you know, it works like that, you know,
Yeah,
just trust in yourself and follow the path, you know.
exactly.
I would love to first thank you again. I will say thank you a lot.
Nah.
I would love to ask you, and if you can like provide or give an advice for our students, you know, the people that are approaching um, and doing that like their first step in this DJ world, and also of course in production.
Yeah, I would. My biggest advice would be, and this is pretty much everybody knows, like with with CDJs, anybody's pretty much trying to be a DJ nowadays. Like you can be a DJ. It's very easy. When I grew up, it was vinyl, so it was kind of harder. So
What makes this was super interesting also to
yeah.
yes.
Well, with turntable, first of all, you don't have a BPM meter, so you don't know what the next record BPM unless you're literally, touching the record, feeling like I have stacks of records. I don't know what BPM they are until I put them on and I'm trying to match the record. So you don't have a BPM reader, you don't have a sync button, you don't have any of the technology you have now. Yeah, the tools, tools are great if you know how to if you use them, but don't let them use you. So like it's great to have a tool that can help you be a better DJ, but don't use it as a cheat form in order for you to like a sync button is great if you're running 3 4 decks, and you're constantly layering and looping, which takes me to my next example. If you want to stand out as a DJ, mixing 1 and 2 turntables is great, but if you need to add your own unique flair to it, like what I started doing that's different than others, every gig I would have is a third CDJ, a designated CDJ for one USB. That's just for the CDJ, and that's going to be all acapellas, all vocals, all samples, exactly.
Nice.
And with that CDJ, I run it through a delay pedal, so that way my if samples are very dry, I can add stuff to it,
Nice.
and I leave the effects for the 900 for the reverb and everything for these 2 turntables. So you're running simultaneous one effect on the third CDJ while you have the mixer effect on deck 1 or 2 for the music. With the V10 now, you don't even need that anymore because you can
Yes,
do all
you
the
can
sound.
control everything.
Yeah, you can control. So, but my going back to your answer to your question, my answer is like try to be different than the other DJ by doing something, adding something to your set, remixing on the fly, adding layering, adding acapellas, adding sound effects, adding all kind of stuff. It's almost like you're remixing in real life, music, and that by me doing that actually it made me a better producer because when I'm DJing like this, I get ideas. Oh wait, this acapella worked with these 2 records while I'm looping these 2 CDJs and I'm putting an acapella on that one. That sparks an idea. I can do this in the studio and or something similar to it.
Yes.
So most of my creative ideas as a producer came out from me DJing by layering stuff and what I'll do, I take out my cell phone. I'll be like, okay, take pictures. Like I have to remember this.
This is crazy because we talk with people and how they say like produce your music thinking in yourself playing, but this is our first time like listen to this, you know, like the opposite, way, you know, it's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, like I told you earlier, I'm a DJ first. I became a producer in order to get more gigs. When I started out, you didn't have to produce to get gigs because being a DJ is one profession, being a producer was another profession. Now you have to be a good producer to get the DJ profession.
Yes.
So I got into producing because I wanted to get more gigs. So, and when I was DJing, that's how I found out how I want to produce because I'm like, oh, man, if I can do this live, I want to do it in the studio and make a record out of it. And that's how I presented my art form.
Thank you so much again, Saeed. We would love to know how do you feel, you know, with the contribution that you're giving to us. You know that we're building a community, and how important, as you said, it's to you to learn that the music it's the main character here, our story as a DJs, and of course, like this is an art, and how we connect with this art.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I think what you guys are doing is amazing. You're bringing DJs and the art of DJing to the forefront, and there's a lot of history behind this art form of DJing and the music, and for people to express themselves with 2 decks, 3 decks, and a mixer, because it really is a way that opens up not just for you personally as an artist, but you're putting smiles on people's faces, and that just feels great when you see people dancing and they're appreciating what you're doing. And so I feel that it's a really great thing that you guys have brought this together, and showing people how to present this craft. This is it's an important craft in my opinion, because there's a thing called the lost art of DJing. But if people do understand what the true art of DJing is, and they can incorporate that to what the equipment is today, and with CDJs, or even they're using a native instrument, tractor or record box or whatever, it's still an art form regardless of what you're using. It's just as if you're as long as you're using it the right way.
Wow. What else? Thank you so much. For us, a pleasure to receive Saeed Younan. See you in the next interview, and hope that you enjoy this master of the art of DJing. And thank you so much. Till the next time. Ciao, ciao.